The alarm does not wake you here. The sun does, sliding through the curtains, soft and golden, touching the wooden floor before it touches your face. There is no rush, no traffic, no notifications demanding to be seen. Just the sound of birds, the creak of the gate, and the smell of soil still wet from the morning dew. This is not a vacation. This is a life. A life where your hands are dirty by noon and your heart is full by nightfall. Where the vegetables on your plate were growing 6 hours ago. Where the animals know your footsteps. Where every single day follows the same quiet rhythm, and yet no 2 days are ever the same. Welcome to Garden Life Epic, where we believe that the best life is not the fastest one, it is the fullest one. The one rooted in soil, in season, in the simple dignity of growing your own food. Today, we are not rushing anywhere. We are just living. Today, I am taking you with me. Into the garden, into the fields, into the simple, extraordinary beauty of harvesting fresh vegetables, feeding the animals, and living slowly on purpose. Let us begin. The morning starts before the sun is fully up. That is the secret no one tells you about mountain village life. The best hours are the early ones. The air is cool, the mist is still sitting in the valley. The dew is heavy on the grass, soaking the hem of your trousers, but you don't mind. And the garden is waiting. I pull on my boots, the same ones I've worn for years, scuffed and muddy and perfectly broken in. I grab the basket, the wide one, with the handle that fits my palm. I can hear the rooster in the distance announcing the new day to anyone who will listen. And I walk. The path to the garden is lined with wildflowers. Clover, daisies, something purple that I've never bothered to name. The bees are already working, moving from blossom to blossom, drunk on the morning nectar. I step carefully, giving them space. This is their garden too. The first stop is the tomato row. They are heavy this time of year, the vines bent under the weight of fruit that has ripened slowly in the mountain sun. Not the pale, tasteless tomatoes from a supermarket shelf. These are deep red, almost purple, with cracks in their skin because they grew too fast and too full. I twist each one gently until it snaps free. The smell sticks to my fingers. That is the smell of summer. There are cherry tomatoes too, small and sweet, bursting with flavor when you pop them into your mouth right there in the garden. I eat a few as I harvest. That is the privilege of growing your own food. No one is watching, no one is counting. The tomato is warm from the sun, and it tastes like nothing you have ever bought in a store. Next to the tomatoes, the cucumbers hide under broad leaves. You have to reach for them, push the foliage aside, feel for the ones that are firm but not hard, the ones that give just slightly when you squeeze. They're prickly, the little spines catching on your skin, but that's how you know they're fresh. I fill the basket with them too, stacking them carefully so they don't bruise. Some will be eaten today, sliced thin with a sprinkle of salt. Others will become pickles, lining up in jars on the pantry shelf, a taste of summer for the dark winter months. The zucchinis are next. They always get away from you. One day they are small and tender, the flowers still attached, perfect for grilling. The next day they are the size of your forearm, too large and seedy for anything but bread and soup. I take the medium ones, leaving the giants for another purpose. The yellow squash, too, curved like crescent moons, their skins so tender you don't even need to peel them. The basket is getting heavy now. My arms are beginning to feel the weight. The leafy greens are the quiet workers of the garden. Kale, chard, lettuce, spinach. They do not demand attention. They just grow, day after day, offering their leaves to anyone who comes with a basket and a pair of scissors. The kale is dark green, almost blue, curled at the edges like lace. The chard has stems the color of a sunset, pink and orange and deep red. The lettuce is so crisp it snaps when you break a leaf. I cut what we need for today, leaving the rest for tomorrow. That is the rule here. Take only what you will eat, waste nothing. The plants will keep producing if you treat them with respect. The beans are hiding too, pole beans climbing up their teepee of bamboo stakes, their white flowers turning into long, slender pods. I run my hand down the vine, feeling for the ones that are still smooth before the seeds inside have begun to bulge. Snap them off with a satisfying crack. They go into the basket on top of the greens. The peas are finished for the season, their vines brown and curling, but the beans are just getting started. There is always something coming. That is the rhythm of a well-planned garden. As one crop fades, another takes its place. By the time the basket is full, the sun has climbed over the ridge. The mist is gone. The village is waking up. Smoke rises from a few chimneys. The smell of wood fire and coffee drifts on the breeze. A rooster calls from somewhere down the path, answered by another farther away. Dogs bark just once or twice, then fall silent. And I walk back to the house, my arms heavy with food that was not transported across a continent, not stored in a warehouse, not sprayed with anything I cannot pronounce. Just grown, just picked, just eaten. But the garden is only half the story. The animals are waiting. The chickens hear me before they see me. That is the thing about chickens. They know. They know the sound of the gate. They know the rhythm of my footsteps. They know that when I appear, food is coming. I scatter the grain in a wide arc, watching them run, their feathers catching the light. Some are brown, some are white. One is the color of cinnamon, with feathers on her feet like tiny slippers. They peck and scratch and murmur to each other in their soft, clucking language. The rooster stands apart, watching, his red comb bright against the morning. He is not interested in the grain. He is watching for danger, for hawks, for foxes, for anything that might threaten his flock. I check the nesting boxes while they eat. The boxes are lined with straw, soft and golden. 3 eggs today, still warm, still speckled with bits of straw. One is pale blue from the Atacama. The others are brown from the Rhode Islands. I carry them inside in the pocket of my apron, careful not to crack them against the doorframe. Later, I will test them in a glass of water. The fresh ones sink. The older ones float. But these are so fresh they barely touch the bottom. The goats are less patient. They hear me coming and they cry out, a sound somewhere between a complaint and a demand. They stand at the gate, their front hooves resting on the lowest bar, their ears flopping with every bleat. I fill their trough with hay, the sweet-smelling kind that came from the meadow down the road. Then I add a handful of kitchen scraps from yesterday. Carrot tops, cabbage leaves, apple cores. They eat everything. Their rough tongues wrap around my fingers when I am not fast enough. I do not mind. Their eyes are the color of honey, and when they look at you, you feel like the most important person in the world. The does are pregnant. You can see it in the roundness of their bellies, the way they waddle when they walk. In a few weeks, there will be kids. Tiny, wobbling, long-eared miracles. I'm already preparing the space for them in the barn, a clean stall with fresh straw and a low trough for their mother's milk. The buck stays separate. He is gentle, but he is also eager, and the does need their rest. The rabbits are the quietest. They sit in their hutches, noses twitching, watching me with dark, calm eyes. I give them fresh water first, then a handful of clover from the patch behind the shed. They take it from my hand, gently, as if they do not want to offend me with their hunger. Their fur is soft, like touching a cloud. Their ears are long, and when they are relaxed, they lie flat against their backs. When they are alert, they stand straight up, swiveling like radar dishes. I have 2 does and 1 buck. The does are due to kindle any day now. I check their nest boxes, filled with hay and fur they have pulled from their own chests. Soon there will be kits, pink, blind, helpless, growing into the most adorable creatures you have ever seen. By mid-morning, the chores are done. The basket is empty, its contents sorted and stored. The tomatoes are on the counter, ripening further in the sun. The cucumbers are in a bowl of cold water, crisping. The zucchinis are lined up like soldiers, waiting to be shredded for bread. The greens are wrapped in a damp towel, tucked into the refrigerator. The eggs are washed and drying on the counter. The animals are fed and content, and I have time. That is the gift of this life. Not more money, not more things, just more time. Time to sit on the porch with a cup of tea. Time to watch the clouds move over the mountain. Time to notice the way the light changes the color of the leaves, shifting from green to gold as the morning becomes afternoon. Time to be still. The afternoon is for the garden again, not harvesting this time, but tending. The weeds are relentless, they do not take a day off. I kneel on a pad of old foam, pulling the chickweed and the lamb's quarters and the bindweed that tries to strangle everything. The soil is dark and crumbly, full of worms that wriggle away from my fingers. I water the beds that are too far from the rain, using a hose that leaks at the connection, soaking my boots. The peppers have grown taller than their stakes, their branches heavy with fruit that is still green. I add taller stakes, tying them gently with soft twine. The eggplants are drooping too, their purple globes almost touching the ground. I prop them up with whatever I can find, old tomato cages, broken branches, anything that works. This is not work, not really. It is conversation. You talk to the plants, not with words, but with attention. You notice the yellow leaf that needs to be removed. You notice the aphids on the underside of the bean leaf, a cluster of tiny green bodies that you wipe away with your thumb. You notice the first tiny cucumber, no bigger than your thumb, and you feel a joy that is almost ridiculous in its simplicity. You notice the way the squash blossoms have opened, their orange petals wide, welcoming the bees. You notice the first tomato that is finally turning from green to pink. You watch it every day, willing it to ripen, and when it does, you will eat it standing in the garden, juice running down your chin. The afternoon also brings the neighbors. That is another thing no one tells you about mountain village life. You are never really alone. Someone stops by with extra eggs because their hens are laying too fast. Someone else brings a jar of honey from their hives, golden and thick, with a piece of comb floating inside. Another neighbor comes with a basket of plums, so many plums that she cannot possibly use them all. You give them zucchini because everyone has too much zucchini, and you laugh about it together. You sit on the porch, all of you, drinking cold water from the well, talking about nothing and everything. The weather, the garden, the goats that escaped last week and ate the neighbor's roses. There is no clock watching, no appointments, no rushing off to the next thing. Just conversation, slow and easy, the way conversation used to be. Evening comes softly. The light turns gold, then orange, then pink, then purple. The air cools again, carrying the scent of wood smoke from someone's cook fire. The animals settle. The chickens put themselves to bed, hopping up onto their roosts without being told. They shuffle and squabble for a moment, finding their places, then fall silent. The goats lie down in the straw, their sides rising and falling in rhythm. They chew their cud, their jaws moving in slow circles, their eyes half closed. The rabbits curl into balls of fur, hidden in the back of their hutches, their noses still twitching even in sleep. And you stand at the kitchen window, washing the day's vegetables, listening to the quiet. Dinner is simple. A salad of tomatoes and cucumbers dressed with oil and vinegar and a handful of herbs from the garden. Basil, parsley, chives, all chopped fine. Roasted vegetables, the ones that were too many to eat fresh. Zucchini, eggplant, peppers, onions, tossed with olive oil and salt and roasted until they are caramelized and sweet. Bread from the village baker, still warm, with a crust that cracks when you tear it. And eggs, maybe, scrambled with chives, because there were 3 today and they will not keep forever. You eat slowly. You taste everything. You are grateful. The food is not fuel. It is a celebration. It is the reason you woke up early, the reason your back aches, the reason your hands are stained with soil. And it is worth every bit of it. After dinner, there is no television, no scrolling, no noise. There is just the porch, the darkening sky, and the first stars appearing one by one. The mountain is a black shape against the deep blue. The air smells like wood smoke and earth, and something sweet, jasmine or honeysuckle, blooming somewhere in the dark. You sit there, not doing anything, not needing to do anything, until the cold drives you inside. You light a lamp, the old kerosene one, because the electricity flickers sometimes and you have learned to be prepared. You read a book, a real one, with pages that you turn. Or you write in a journal, recording the day, the harvest, the weather, the small things that you do not want to forget. Then you blow out the lamp and lie down in the dark, listening to the crickets and the owls and the distant bark of a fox. This is peaceful mountain village life. It is not perfect. The weeds always come back. The animals escape sometimes. The rain comes when you do not want it and stays away when you do. The tomatoes get blight, the chickens get sick, the goats break fences. But it is real. It is whole. It is yours. And at the end of the day, when you close your eyes, you know that you have done something. You have fed yourself. You have cared for something other than yourself. You have participated in the ancient, ongoing miracle of growing food from dirt. You do not need to move to a mountain to live this way. You just need to bring a piece of it home. The garden, even a small one, a few pots on a balcony, a patch of tomatoes in the backyard. The animals, even just a few chickens or a single rabbit or a hive of bees. The slowness, even for an hour a day, turning off your phone, sitting in the sun, doing nothing that can be measured or monetized. The attention, even when the world is loud, even when everyone around you is rushing, even when it feels like you are the only one standing still. Because here is the truth that took me years to learn. Peace is not a place. It is a practice. It is choosing to harvest instead of hurry, to feed instead of scroll, to sit on the porch instead of chase the next thing. You can start today, right where you are, with a seed, with a pot, with a single tomato plant on a sunny windowsill. Now I want to hear from you. What does your peaceful morning look like? Are you a gardener already, or are you dreaming of becoming one? Have you ever tasted a tomato still warm from the sun? Have you ever held a chicken or milked a goat or sat in silence as the stars came out? Drop your answer in the comments below. Let us build a community of people who believe that the best life is grown, not bought. Hit that subscribe button for Garden Life Epic. We're here every week to remind you that the soil, the animals, the slow rhythm of the seasons, these are not outdated. They are essential. They are what we were made for. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next episode, where we are going to show you how to build a small vegetable garden in even the tiniest backyard with nothing but a few containers and a little bit of hope. Now go outside, breathe the air, touch the soil, listen to the birds, and remember that the simplest life is often the richest one. The quietest life is often the loudest with meaning. The slowest life is often the fastest to fill your heart.